Deep inside a secret North Korean military base, scientists are working feverishly on counterfeiting money. They've finally created a dollar printing plate so perfect that no machine in the world can detect the fake bills. But a group is plotting to steal it from the government. This group is a bunch of traitorous soldiers looking to profit from the situation. Leading them is a guy codenamed Black Leopard, a high-ranking intelligence agent in the army. Getting into the base is no problem for him. Soon after, they go on a killing spree, wiping out all the guards and quickly stealing the printing plate. Outside, Lieutenant Daegong Cheol-ryong is preparing for a patrol when suddenly his fiancée Mina shows up. Gotta eat to be strong. The beautiful Mina brings some rice cakes for Cheol-ryong to munch on and says, "I have good news to tell you." Right then, the radio crackles with a warning. Something's wrong. An intruder has been detected at the base. Immediately, Cheol-ryong asks his captain for permission to lead the team to intercept the enemy. But his superior replies, "Just stand here and wait for reinforcements." However, seeing the urgency, Cheol-ryong decides to have Mina stand guard outside with one of the other men while he and the rest of the team storm inside. Inside, Black Leopard orders his men to eliminate the researchers, but thankfully, Cheol-ryong's team arrives to save them. Realizing that they're fighting their own people, he yells, "Traitorous bastards, drop your weapons or you'll get a bullet in the head." Without another word, Cheol-ryong shoots one of them in the shoulder as a warning. Just then, Captain Ji-sung walks in and says, "Can't you ever listen? I told you to wait outside." It turns out that he's the mastermind. He's dissatisfied with the regime and wants to pull off this heist and then disappear. Cheol-ryong is about to attack when Ji-sung pulls his fiancée into the middle, using her as a human shield. "Let's see what you dare to do." Seeing that Ji-sung has a hostage, Cheol-ryong immediately lowers his weapon and surrenders. As he's about to make a move, Black Leopard throws a grenade at all the hostages, planning to kill them all. Cheol-ryong covers his lover and shields her, taking a heavy blow. Afterwards, they show no mercy, cutting down everyone in a bloodbath. Cheol-ryong desperately tries to beg them to spare Mina, but the captain shows no pity and shoots her. Watching his love die right before his eyes, Cheol-ryong is heartbroken and tries to attack, but the captain shoots him in the shoulder. He approaches, intending to bury them together, but luckily, his gun is out of ammo. This gives Ji-sung an idea. He doesn't want Cheol-ryong to die, but to live and tell the nation that this printing plate is the blood debt we must collect. With that, Ji-sung and his men immediately head overseas to sell the plate and make a fortune. Receiving this news, the Minister of National Defense is furious. This printing plate took North Korea 20 years to create and is a strategic weapon for the nation. With it, even the US wouldn't be a match. Seeing that Cheol-ryong is the only survivor, he suspects that he's an accomplice of Ji-sung. However, there's no evidence, and Cheol-ryong insists that Ji-sung is a traitor. "I am willing to sacrifice myself for my country, but before I do, please give me a chance to avenge my fiancée and my comrades." These words move the minister, and he agrees to help Cheol-ryong. Even more heartbreaking, he discovers what Mina wanted to say. They were expecting a baby. This cuts his heart like a knife. He vows not to rest until he avenges them. Quickly, the intelligence team finds that the mastermind behind everything is Colonel Ji-sung, the security team leader of the army. Turns out, 10 years ago, he was caught gambling and was punished by being assigned to transport weapons in the border area. Unfortunately, he was captured by terrorists and had his manhood cut off. Because of this, he holds a grudge in his heart and always wants to betray the current government. Ji-sung has brought the printing plate to Seoul, South Korea, to wait for the transaction. Knowing this, the minister immediately makes a plan. He says, "We will organize a defense meeting between North and South Korea and, taking the opportunity, send Cheol-ryong to apprehend the traitors and retrieve the printing plate." At the same time, in the streets of Seoul, a police officer named Jin-tae is running, sweating profusely, to chase down a criminal who is illegally trafficking in building materials, specifically rocks. He finally chases him to a dead end. But as he's about to rush in, he sees that the guy is holding a knife. This makes a useless police officer like Jin-tae a little apprehensive. As he is about to de-escalate, his phone rings, so he has to negotiate, "Wait till I finish listening, and then we'll fight." It turns out it's his daughter at home, demanding that he buy her a phone. The robber is smarter and runs off. Returning to the police station to report the crime, he gets scolded by his friend, who is also his superior. "I really regret hiring you, so pack up your things and choose another profession." Then the captain runs out of words and leaves. As Jin-tae is walking out the door, a little boy runs up and says, "Sorry, I ran too early and let the criminal escape. Forget it, I'm getting fired anyway," he says, but in reality, Jin is very sad because he is the only source of income in the family. Besides a wife who constantly nags, he also has a sister-in-law named Minyoung who is always bothering him to borrow money. There's also his daughter who needs him to buy her a phone to take online classes. Jin-tae goes to pack his things to leave the police station when his friend, his superior, stops him and says, "Nothing is more important than friendship. I didn't want you to be disciplined, so I struggled and asked the chief to give you one more chance. That is, to work with a North Korean special agent to catch wanted criminals. Not only will this save his job, but it's also a path to promotion." After talking for a while, Jin-tae finally agrees. The two men go to the intelligence agency where Inspector Kim says, to arrest a murderer, the other country has taken the initiative to open a North-South summit. This has never happened in history. Jin-tae quickly replies, "I will cooperate and catch that criminal. Don't run ahead of the car. We don't need you to do that. North Korea definitely has a conspiracy that threatens national security. So your job is to secretly monitor him while preventing and finding out the deep-seated scheme behind him." After finishing, Jin-tae needs a few minutes to fully understand the mission this time. Soon after, the high-level summit delegation from the North Korean government arrives in Seoul and goes to the hotel. The Minister of National Defense gives Cheol-ryong a gun along with a phone. Here, he orders him to cooperate with South Korea under the guise of being a police officer to track down the traitor Ji Il-sung. The only clue is his close henchman, Park. Immediately, Jin-tae takes the photo to the hotel to find Cheol-ryong. However, he's even more handsome in person than in the photos, shocking the South Korean police officer. Suddenly, Jin-tae rushes out and hugs him, grabs his gun, and says, "I can help you catch the criminal without using this." With both of them having no clues on the case, Jin-tae takes Cheol-ryong out to eat Korean barbecue, but really it's a trick to get information on North Korea's plan. But Cheol-ryong is still as quiet as a clam, not uttering a word. Jin-tae fakes taking the name card just a toy, but Cheol-ryong quickly takes back the card, twisting Jin-tae's arm. After getting outside, he asks Cheol-ryong a dumb question of, "Where do we go now?" This causes Cheol-ryong to be suspicious, so he asks, "Are you really a criminal investigator?" So, Jin takes Cheol-ryong to this place where that punk Park likes to deal drugs. But remember what Inspector Kim told Jin. Anything suspicious, report it. Jin, true to form, is just barreling into every trap possible. Cheol-ryong is like, "Hold up, something's not right," and they start arguing. Jin jumps out of the car, ready to beat some sense into the young North Korean. But Cheol-ryong flips the script. He twists Jin's arm, slaps the cuffs on him, and locks him to the car door. Before Jin can even yell for help, Cheol-ryong jumps off a bridge, leaving his partner screaming on the side of the road. Next thing we know, Cheol-ryong's flagged down a taxi and is headed to a building to grab Park. But get this, Jin-tae is already there. Jin's like, "We need to work together," but Cheol-ryong spots a shady character lurking nearby. Before Jin can react, he sees Park. That guy is trying to take off, so it's time for him to chase after. It's a full-blown foot chase. Cheol-ryong gives chase, but he's too late. Park has already fled. Not wanting to lose him, Cheol-ryong hails another taxi and continues the pursuit. Turns out, after ditching his boss in North Korea, this guy Park has been slinging drugs like it's his new career. He's gotten so brazen that he pulls out a weapon after the deal to scare his customers. Park has some firepower. No one dares to try and shake him down. He's about to hop into a car when Cheol-ryong grabs him, demanding to know where Ji Il-sung is hiding. But Park pulls out a gun, backing Cheol-ryong off. Cheol-ryong sees the gun and now hesitates. Cheol-ryong decides to play it smart, using the environment to his advantage. He's planning a surprise attack when suddenly, Jin-tae shows up, blaring his police siren at full volume. Park, freaked out, bolts for it, and Cheol-ryong is immediately after him, scaling fences and hopping over rooftops. It's a full-on parkour chase. They're dodging traffic, narrowly avoiding getting squashed like bugs. But at a crucial moment, Park manages to carjack a vehicle and floors it. Cheol-ryong grabs onto the side of the car, hanging on for dear life. It's incredibly dangerous. Park, desperate to shake him off, swerves like a maniac, trying to throw Cheol-ryong into the street. Park sees a group of kids waiting for their school bus. He jumps out, hoping the car crash will hurt Cheol-ryong. Luckily, Jin-tae arrives just in time, yelling to warn the children. But Cheol Ryong has already managed to get inside the car. Talk about a close call. Now he's in the driver's seat and is trying to take control of the vehicle. But at the end of the day, he is trying not to murder a bunch of school kids. Park takes the opportunity to disappear. Back at the precinct, Jin-tae is getting chewed out by his captain, who asks him if he understands his mistake. He's also asked not to leave the site again. The captain says that to fix Jin-tae's relationship with Cheol Ryong, he needs to go out to drink with him to earn his trust. After some initial resistance, Jin-tae reluctantly agrees. To try and build camaraderie, Jin-tae takes Cheol Ryong out for drinks. As they start to bond, Jin-tae says, "I have a gift for you," and pulls out an ankle monitor, the kind used for tracking criminals. He straps it onto Cheol Ryong's ankle. The explanation is that this is a silver anklet that will allow police to identify each other easily. Jin-tae is clearly making things up. Cheol Ryong, already suspicious, notices that Jin-tae isn't wearing one himself. Jin-tae stumbles over his words, claiming he is charging at home. Leaving the restaurant, Jin-tae takes Cheol Ryong back to his house. Jin-tae's sister-in-law, Min-young, is immediately smitten with the handsome North Korean. She wastes no time making her move. After Cheol Ryong goes to the bathroom, Jin-tae sneaks into his room to plant a listening device on Cheol Ryong's phone, hoping to monitor his calls. That night, worried that Jin-tae's snoring would keep Cheol Ryong awake, Min-young offered to switch rooms. She clearly has an ulterior motive. But Cheol Ryong, being a stand-up guy, politely declines. Once Jin-tae is asleep, Cheol Ryong quietly removes the listening device from his phone and calls the Minister of National Defense. He requests permission to kill the traitor Ji I-sung as soon as he finds him, as payback for Mina's death. The next day, the South Korean intelligence agency discovers that Ji I-sung and some of his men are at the Seoul airport. Immediately, Inspector Kim orders an investigation to track down the vehicle Ji I-sung used to escape. Turns out, Ji I-sung is holed up in a coastal resort. Besides running a drug and arms trafficking operation, he's waiting for a buyer to sell the counterfeit money printing plate. Ji I-sung is met by his right-hand men, Park and Black Panther. The news is not good. They tell Ji I-sung that Cheol Ryong is hot on their trail. Ji I-sung realizes his mistake. He should have killed Cheol Ryong when he had the chance. Huge mistake. Without hesitating, Ji I-sung calls up the most notorious crime boss in South Korea. He plans to sell the printing plate and disappear. Ji I-sung flaunts a sample of the counterfeit money, boasting that even the US president's currency detectors can't tell it's fake. But the crime boss is wary. He says he needs to send some scientists to test the printing plate before closing the deal. Ji I-sung, insulted, retorts, "Do I look like a con man to you? You can check the plate, but if you try any tricks, you'll end up in a body bag. Play with fire, and you'll get burned." Meanwhile, an informant reveals to Jin that Ji I-sung's vehicle has been spotted near a building in Gangnam. He and Cheol Ryong are off to investigate. Through the building's security cameras, they spot Park hanging around and a bunch of shady characters gathering in a secret room. Jin-tae barges in, flashing his police badge. But the gang leader just laughs. "You're just a rent-a-cop. Get out of here." Jin-tae tries to intimidate them by taking off his jacket, but one of the thugs pulls out his gun. They're treating him like a joke, and Cheol Ryong is getting pissed. "Tell me where Park is hiding," he demands. "Or else." The leader scoffs. "You can blow my brains out. I'll never talk." Cheol Ryong swiftly disarms the whole crew and proceeds to dish out a brutal beatdown. These low-level thugs are no match for a highly trained North Korean special agent. He's using his bare hands to send these guys sprawling. One minute they are bragging, the next they are face-planting. It's a one-sided beatdown. Jin-tae is awestruck. Cheol Ryong grabs the gang leader's phone and hands it to Jin-tae, telling him to find Park's location. They discover a new address that Park frequents, a gambling den run by an Asian syndicate. They head that way. Park is nowhere to be seen when they get there. Cheol Ryong, with his eagle eyes, spots him downstairs and immediately gives chase. But several bouncers show up asking if they are cops. Even though they know Jin-tae is a cop, they are undeterred. They assume they can take them down. That's when they make a critical error. They seem to think the crowd is a problem, but Cheol Ryong has already disappeared to chase after Park. In a panic, Jin-tae pulls out his gun, but he's so flustered that he drops the magazine. Now he's diving under tables for cover, completely out of his depth. Jin copies the North Korean, grabbing a roll of toilet paper as a weapon. Just as it seems the bouncers will overpower him, Jin-tae uses his cop training to gain some ground. Meanwhile, downstairs, Park is giving the Black Panther some weapons for a quick getaway from South Korea. But Park wants to stay. Black Panther is pissed and calls Ji I-sung for guidance. The decision is swift and brutal. Park is deemed a liability and quickly executed. Right as the murder happens, Cheol Ryong shows up and recognizes his old comrade. The two engage in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Cheol Ryong disarms Black Panther. He gets hit and knocked on his ass. Then he finds an opening. But right then, Jin shows up, calling Cheol Ryong's name. In a moment of carelessness, Cheol Ryong gets blindsided. Black Panther seizes the chance to make his escape. The police finally arrive. But as always, they're too late. Park is dead, leaving Cheol Ryong and Jin with nothing but Park's phone as a clue. After hauling the gambling den bouncers back to the precinct, Jin hands over the evidence to a rookie cop. He's beyond frustrated. On the drive home, Jin tries to pry information out of Cheol Ryong, wanting to know who that skilled fighter was. However, Cheol Ryong is a brick wall, clamping up tighter than ever. Fed up, Jin asks Cheol Ryong to be honest, as they need to work together. Now is the time to speak up. Finally, Cheol Ryong relents. He reveals that the guy from before was Black Panther, Ji I-sung's right-hand man. They're both soldiers and have killed a lot of Cheol Ryong's comrades. Hearing this, Jin immediately calls his superior officer. Little does he know, Cheol Ryong has bugged Jin's phone, listening to every word. At the same time, a fellow convict notices the ankle monitor on Cheol Ryong. He tells him he knows how to get out of there. Cheol Ryong realizes he's been duped. So he grabs the convict and then gives Jin a beatdown. This forces Jin to remove the ankle monitor, so the trio isn't caught on the outside. Back at home, Min Young notices the blood on Cheol Ryong's hand and is visibly concerned. She cleans his wound and then tells him to never get hurt again because it would be a burden. Although Min Young is pretty, Cheol Ryong tells her that he already has someone he loves. This sends her running inside, embarrassed. That night, she sneaks into his room and tries to take him to her bed. But it turns out it was Jin in the bed. She then leaves, utterly embarrassed. Cheol Ryong is still thinking about his loved ones, while Ji I-sung gathers his traitorous soldiers at a dock to brief them on the upcoming deal. The North Korean government has always been wrong, and this opportunity will allow them to get what they deserve. Back at the Intelligence Bureau, an autopsy reveals that Park had several unfinished counterfeit bills on him. Inspector Kim realizes what's going on. The next morning, Jin finds the listening device planted on his phone. Inspector Kim announces that Ji I-sung will be trading the counterfeit money with a notorious crime boss at a coastal resort. Cheol Ryong gets wind of this. He demands to know the plan, but Jin refuses to give him any information. Now we can see the two are drifting apart. Jin states they will go as planned. Reaching a boiling point, Jin-tae slams on the brakes and pulls over. You come here to catch Ji I-sung and sell counterfeit money, but want revenge for your people. You think I trust that? I never lied. Help me catch Ji I-sung, and I'll give you the printing plate. Just help me, comrade. Hearing the word comrade, Jin-tae softens and tells Cheol Ryong everything. Over with Ji I-sung, not only did he bring the money, but he brought experts to see if the money was real. Outside, Cheol Ryong states there are other soldiers like him here. He needs to take down the soldiers himself, as he cannot trust anyone. Cheol Ryong gives his partner all his money, telling him to buy his daughter that phone. He walks into the resort, ready to exact his revenge. The deal seems to be going smoothly, but then the crime boss reveals his true colors. In South Korea, I'm the only one who can handle this stuff. I'll give you half price, $10 million tops. Ji I-sung is furious, but manages to keep his cool. I warned you. Meanwhile, on the roof, Cheol Ryong is about to make his move when Jin-tae shows up, not listening to a word Cheol Ryong says. Now the three are reunited. Cheol Ryong is at the end of his tether. Cheol Ryong has Jin call his phone and lower the phone down inside the building to eavesdrop. Turns out, Ji I-sung knew the boss was playing him. At exactly midnight, his men open fire, trying to steal the money printing system. Ji I-sung shoots the guys up top, sending them flying. He then states that the only one with an advantage here is he. Then Ji I-sung shoots the crime boss, shouting, I hate smart asses like you. I don't need your 20 million. I can print it myself. Now I have the whole operation. Ji I-sung orders his men to leave, but Cheol Ryong drops from the roof. taking out one of them with his expert marksmanship. Ji-sung smiles when he sees his old comrade. "I've been expecting you." Jin arrives just in time to help out. Cheol-ryong throws a henchman off the roof and attacks Ji-sung. But Ji-sung throws a grenade, then runs. Both barely survive the blast and then continue the chase. The police arrive, but they don't dare go in. Ji-sung orders his men to get in the car and escape. Cheol-ryong gives chase but can't keep up. A police car arrives, driven by the rookie, who tries to block Ji-sung. But Ji-sung shoots him. The other cops are still outside, too scared to do anything. After calling the kid out and seeing the police car wrecked, the two quickly take off. The chief calls Jin, blasting him for letting Cheol-ryong know about the deal. Inspector Kim insists they bring in Ji-sung alive and recover the printing plate. Enraged, Jin hangs up, leaving the other cops fuming. They spot Ji-sung's car and give chase. A high-speed pursuit ensues. The trio are racing in the city like it's a death race. Cheol-ryong climbs out of a window to attack, but Ji-sung keeps shooting, blowing out tires and setting up roadblocks. Jin, who looks as dumb as ever, is a skilled racer himself and manages to dodge the attacks. They reach a bridge, and Ji-sung continues his assault. Cheol-ryong returns fire, shooting out the door. Then he leans out, aims, and shoots out the tires, sending their car spinning out of control. Cheol-ryong quickly shoots down the printing plate and then attacks Ji-sung. Quickly, the two disarm, and they are the only people there. Overcome, Cheol-ryong says, "You're not going to escape me today." Ji-sung taunts him, provoking him further. Consumed with rage, Cheol-ryong is about to pull the trigger when Jin jumps in the way. Seizing the opportunity, Ji-sung jumps off the bridge. Now only Jin and Cheol-ryong are left. Desperate, Cheol-ryong points his gun at Jin-tae, ready to kill him. "Ji-sung killed my wife and my child. How can I not take revenge?" Hearing these words, Jin is heartbroken. He didn't know Ji-sung was so evil. If not, he would have let Cheol-ryong kill him. Overcome with guilt, Jin grabs the printing plate and hands it to Cheol-ryong. "Consider it lost. But whatever happens, you have to keep living. If Ji-sung has to die, I'll be the one to send him to hell for you." Seeing the South Korean police arriving, Cheol-ryong has no choice but to leave. Back at the hotel, he hands over the printing plates to the minister. He is told to return to North Korea immediately. Little does Cheol-ryong know, the one-eyed bastard Ji-sung is still alive. He kidnaps Jin-tae's wife and daughter and calls to make his demands. "You have 2 hours to bring me the printing plate, or I'll bury them alive." 1 minute late, "I chop off a finger." Jin-tae is devastated. He calls Cheol-ryong and explains everything. Saving a life is better than building 10 towers. Without hesitation, Cheol-ryong asks the minister for the printing plate. "I can't let you go, not because I'm afraid of losing those plates, but because I'm afraid of losing you. I promise, I'll come back." Knowing he can't stop him, the minister allows Cheol-ryong to leave. After all, Cheol-ryong is his best agent. Jin-tae arrives at the docks. He rushes inside to rescue his family, but discovers a bomb. Ji-sung's men are hiding inside, watching through the security cameras. Jin-tae angrily shouts into the radio, "You bastards! Let my wife and daughter go, or you'll regret it." A sniper fires a warning shot. Jin is afraid that his family will get hit by the bullet, so he begs Ji-sung for help. Just as Jin-tae is at his lowest, the sniper is taken out. It's Cheol-ryong, back to save the day. Speaking on the radio, he states that he will go and bring the printer. Cheol-ryong asks Ji-sung to release Jin's family in exchange for the printing plate. To show his good faith, he asks Ji-sung to retrieve half of the money printer first. This puts him in a position to come and take the hostages back. Cheol-ryong deactivates the bomb, and Jin brings his wife and daughter to safety. Now that Jin's family is safe, Cheol-ryong begins his assault. He grabs the other half of the printing plates as bait, challenging Ji-sung to come out. Ji-sung takes the bait, sending his men out. Seeing the enemy spread out, Cheol-ryong drops down, attacking the men to steal their weapons. But more enemies come out. As an international special agent, Cheol-ryong is good at his job. First, Cheol-ryong shoots holes in the gas lines to create a smokescreen. Then he starts gunning down his enemies. Meanwhile, on the way back, Jin says he wants to help Cheol-ryong. His wife says to turn around to save the friend and kill them all to avenge their deeds. The two had to go to great lengths for one another. Jin-tae has seen the true side of Cheol Ryong and will help him to the bitter end. This is more than police and criminal. They both have saved one another's lives, and each is deeply indebted to the other. Spotting Ji-sung and his men, Cheol Ryong uses the terrain to his advantage, landing stealthily. Ji-sung has called Black Panther to even the sides. This time it is going to be different. They will come out on top. They are evenly matched with each other. Then, it is all-out war. After the two are done in the fistfight, Cheol Ryong grabs Black Panther, and in a single blow knocks Black Panther out. Black Panther may have been Cheol Ryong's match for a long while, but today would be different, and Black Panther would lose. He had his chance for a victory and threw it away. On the other side of the battle, Ji-sung finds the final 2 printing plates and takes them back. As Cheol Ryong is about to finish off Black Panther, Ji-sung shoots him in the side. Wasting no time, Cheol Ryong grabs Black Panther and uses him as a human shield, getting Cheol Ryong to a safe position. Fortunately, Jin-tae arrives just in time, plowing into Ji-sung's men. After killing them, he throws Cheol Ryong a magazine to continue the fight. "Why did you come back?" Cheol Ryong asks. "I had to repay your debts and help you one more time." Both of them smile, knowing that they have one another's backs at any cost. Cheol Ryong takes the opportunity to grab his gun to go after Ji-sung. Then Cheol Ryong is caught unawares and has his gun knocked to the ground by Ji-sung. Ji-sung draws a knife and attacks. Cheol Ryong's fighting abilities have been affected by the gunshot wound, so he is no match for Ji-sung anymore. As he continues the assault, Ji-sung states about having to pay because being a free North Korea. What they will never realize is that he does not have to be strong to win. He just needed to find those who were weak. After defeating Cheol Ryong, Ji-sung is about to finish him off when Jin comes to his rescue. Seeing his friend half dead, Jin chases after Ji-sung but is ambushed. As he goes to stab Jin, another bullet is shot in the chest. Ji-sung then collapses, knowing his duty is done. And it is all thanks to Cheol Ryong. Finally, he has completed his revenge. Cheol Ryong offers the printing plate to Jin-tae for a promotion. He wishes that Jin had a great promotion for all the hard work he did. However, Jin still has a conscience, knowing that people are going to die with that printing plate. He refuses to sell it for a profit and gets rid of it, making it fall to the bottom of the lake. Family and true friends are more important. From here, the two have officially become best friends. From that very moment, the police came from all different areas. And it was the end of the day. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.